Thank you, Kurt, and thank you, everyone here. My name is Dr. Joe Pojman, and I am Executive Director of Texas Alliance for Life. I want to welcome everyone to our third quarterly Leadership Circle Luncheon of 2019. And I want to recognize my staff, Lance Peterson, Director of Financial Development. He's someplace out there. Anita Bray, our Administrative Assistant. Our Public Policy Team, Matthew Cooksey, Deirdre Cooper, and Amy O'Donnell, Communications Director. Rachel Schroeder, our Database Assistant. In May, the legislature completed another successful session on the life issue. Under the leadership of Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and House Speaker Dennis Bonas, the legislature passed 4 significant pro-life bills, doubled funding for the state's highly successful Alternatives to Abortion program, and continued numerous other pro-life provisions in the General Appropriations Act, the state's 2-year budget. Let me just highlight some of those. Senate Bill 22 by Senator Donna Campbell and Representative Candy Noble defunded Planned Parenthood at the local level. Folks, we are leading the nation in this regard. Senate Bill 22 bans contracts between political subdivisions, cities, counties, hospital districts, school districts, etc., and abortion providers and their affiliates. We are very happy to report that Planned Parenthood's current contract with the City of Austin for $230,000 and Planned Parenthood's contract with Central Health, the Travis County Hospital District, for $790,000 will not be renewed. Also, this law, Senate Bill 22, is extremely helpful for preventing Planned Parenthood's reestablishment of their facilities in West Texas, cities like Abilene, Lubbock, Midland, Odessa, and San Angelo. Now, you have heard that the City of Austin is considering spending $150,000 to help women get to abortion facilities. Okay, transportation, child care while they have abortions. And we are fighting that, but in the meantime, we want the City of Austin to consider something. How about using some of that $150,000 to help women get to any of the 23 pro-life pregnancy resource centers in Central Texas for alternatives to abortion? Isn't that what pro-choice is supposed to mean? The Texas Alternatives to Abortion Act, Senate Bill 24 by Senator Eddie Lucio from Brownsville and Representative Chris Patty from East Texas, requires a doctor or the doctor's agent to hand the state's Women's Right to Know brochure to the woman before she consents to an abortion. Now, this has a huge list of alternatives to abortion, county by county. Already, they're supposed to be providing it to the abortion providers. Provide apparently doesn't mean giving to the women. Women were not getting it. We verified that, so this requires them to hand it to the woman. And it also requires that any phone consultation beforehand, as required by law, has to be done in a private and confidential setting, not a conference call with a whole bunch of women together. Can you believe that's what has been happening? And they call it health care. So that goes into effect September 1st. The Texas Born Alive Infant Protection Act, House Bill 16 by Representative Jeff Leach and Senator Lois Kolkhorst, protects an unborn child who survives an abortion by creating criminal and civil penalties for a physician who fails to attempt to save the life of that child. Folks, you've got to have a law for these abortion providers to do that. But now we have the law, and we're going to hear more about that in a little bit. And House Bill 902 by Representative Brooks Landgraf and Senator Joan Huffman increases penalties for assaulting a pregnant woman, which, by the way, was drafted by a former intern and now attorney for us, and she is a assistant DA in Ector County. So that's we're pretty pleased about that. The legislature also doubled funding for the state's highly successful Alternatives to Abortion program to $80 million a year for the 2-year biennium. Folks, this is our tax dollars well spent. Think of the tens of thousands of women who will be offered compassionate alternatives to abortion, giving them real choices rather than just marching them like cattle into an abortion facility. Okay, so that's just a fantastic game. In addition, there were several bad bills that were defeated, including a New York-style bill to repeal many of the pro-life laws passed over the last 30 years, including would have required Medicaid funding for abortions. So that was defeated. Other bills that was defeated would have required doctors, this is on the end of life, to provide harmful interventions to dying patients at the end of life, contrary to the doctor's medical and religious ethics. So that was defeated. Again, this session, we were very happy to work with partner organizations. The Texas Catholic Conference of Bishops, the Texas Baptist Christian Life Commission, Texans for Life, and a number of other groups. Some people ask why Texas did not pass a complete ban on abortion or a heartbeat bill. In our view, we need to be strategic. These bills, believe it or not, would be a setback for Texas for the foreseeable future. And let me explain that. Every state that has passed a pre-viable ban on abortion, there's been like a dozen total, those laws have not survived a federal court challenge. That means that there's more bad precedent upholding, not overturning Roe versus Wade. And federal law also requires states to pay the attorney's fees for the plaintiffs. That means hundreds or millions of dollars to the abortion industry. That strengthens, not weakens, the abortion industry. The very best strategy is to pass a trigger ban on abortion, which goes into effect when the Supreme Court overrules Roe versus Wade. At our April luncheon, we heard from Representative Giovanni Capriglione talk about his bill that would have done just that. Unfortunately, this bill didn't pass. We're already working on that, getting that done in the 2021 session. So here's the deal. For the time being, the Supreme Court is not willing to take cases that could overturn Roe versus Wade. They just ended their recent term in the end of June. During their term from last October to June, they had 4 opportunities to take cases that would overturn Roe versus Wade. They refused. Those votes were unanimous, by the way. So even the pro-life judges are waiting until the right time. And what is the right time? We don't have enough justices. We don't have enough votes on the court that are willing to overturn Roe. We need more justices. The next election for president will determine whether we get more justices that respect the Constitution as it was written. I point out that President Donald Trump has nominated remarkable judges that do respect the Constitution. Have you heard that Planned Parenthood has withdrawn from the federal Title X family planning program and will forgo some $60 million a year? Planned Parenthood does not wish to comply with the new rules from the Trump administration, the new pro-life rules that prevent our tax dollars from being used to promote abortion. Well, Planned Parenthood, we've got something to say to you. Don't let the door hit your backside on the way out, okay? And we do not need Planned Parenthood in Texas. The state of Texas has more than 200 pro-life pregnancy resource centers across the state. They offer all the services for free, and their goal is that a woman be self-sufficient. You know, some of them follow the woman up till the time the child is in kindergarten. We have more than 5,000 providers of women's health services across our state for low-income women in the state's Healthy Texas Women's Program. We do not need Planned Parenthood. So on a national level, I want to recognize someone very special. We're just getting to know her. Terry Beatley with the Hosea Initiative came here all the way, Terry, all the way from Northern Virginia. Terry is working to promote this message that the pro-life movement has grown so fast and so many young people that a lot of people don't realize that the founder of National Abortion Rights Action League, a physician by the name of Bernard Nathanson, founded it on a complete lie. It was deceit. And people need to know that. So her organization is getting that out, and we hope to help her in Texas.
You will.
Finally, I wish to thank you, our Leadership Circle members. You are the fire in the boiler room that makes our efforts possible. And we have something special for you. Okay, a DVD Blu-ray disc of the extraordinary movie Unplanned. You can pick up yours at the registration table when you leave. I got to point out, this is for Leadership Circle members. And we can certainly get you signed up to be a Leadership Circle member if you're not already. We have various levels from $1,200 a year to $10,000 a year. And you can be a representative, senator, lieutenant governor, or governor. Really, we do appreciate that. And if you're not a Leadership Circle member, please consider it, because that's how we get the word out across the state of Texas. Now, we wanted you to listen to the story of an extraordinary young woman who's become a personal friend of mine and everybody she encounters. Her name is Claire Caldwell, who grew up in Austin, adopted in a very loving family. And when she was 21, 10 years ago, she discovered that she was born and survived an abortion. Claire has taken that message all over the country, been on Fox and Friends numerous times, spoken all over the country, and we got her to come to the Texas legislature to tell her story, to help pass House Bill 16. And she was indispensable. When the bill came to the House floor, and Representative Donna Howard, who's a nurse from West Austin, Central and West Austin, opposed the bill, and she was at the front mic saying, "This never happens. Children are never born alive after abortion." I just kind of asked Claire, we were sitting up in the gallery, "Claire, would you mind standing?" And she did, very humbly, for all to see that she was there to stand up for herself and for every child who survives an abortion. And we know of about 8 in Austin. Around the country, almost 200 people are alive today who survived abortion. So this is not something that's academic. This is something that involves people today. And unfortunately, Claire came down with a really tough illness. She'll be fine, but she could not be here today, and she was on her talking to me with a scratchy voice, poor thing, this morning. "Joe, I'm sorry I can't be there," but she offered her parents to come in her stead. So let me introduce your parents, Warren and Barbara Caldwell.